Greetings, sirs and madams. I'm Seraphic Zero, and we're playing Gundam Battle Operation 2. So the other day I stumbled onto a match our friend Chief was hosting, and I ended up crashing the enemy side by sorting in my Gyan. So this is a 400 cost match, and of course the Gyan's going to be at level 1 at this cost range. And the Gyan is a bit of an odd duck. So it's actually the melee type or assault type mobile suit that I'm maining right now. And it was actually pretty strange in the first game. So in Battle Operation 1, it was actually the first melee type mobile suit that could use a dodge roll. And also it had pretty much the strongest melee damage in the game. I think the Zaku FS had some weird shit going on with that too, but the Gyan uses a completely unique melee style where it uses its beam saber in sort of a fencing type style. So all of its attacks are going to be thrust attacks directed straight forward, and this actually makes the Gyan extremely hard to use because this is a very narrow hitbox, and it's quite challenging to even hit enemies, but also sort of challenging to hit them on the ground, but I'll show you guys how to do that. Yeah, so in the first game, the Gyan was extremely difficult to use because, yeah, its beam saber missed all the time, but they seem to have made the hitboxes a bit bigger for the second game. So thankfully, the Gyan is a bit easier to use now. The only problem with that is it pretty much completely embodies the concept of glass cannon. So I think at this point in the match, we completely wiped the other team, so I'm just going to fast forward this a bit while everybody spawns back in. So the Gyan actually, while it does have a dodge roll, it actually can get killed very easily. Its defenses and HP aren't very good, so if you get knocked down, you're probably going to get killed. But the trade-off is you pretty much have the highest damage output in the game if you can manage to close in. Yeah, the beam saber just hits like a truck with rocket boosters on it. It hits really, really hard. I think I might have hit some support types for 6,000 or 7,000 damage with one hit, and that is just absolutely tremendous. Yeah, so right here I am just pushing ahead like a bit of a goofball. Like I knew the match was already kind of lopsided, so I just decided to just kind of scare the Gundam weapons rack a little bit and just kind of throw them a bone. I didn't really care like if I was gonna die or not, but yeah, so we're spawning back in, and it looks like my team is still doing pretty well. Yeah, here's this Gym Striker. He's using a level, I think that's a level 1 actually, but yeah, he's like a whole 100 points below cost. Yeah, and they also have an Ifrit Custom, or an Ifrit Kai, I forget which one it is. Yeah, here I am to bug the Gundam weapons rack again. So I did manage to fit one poke in there before he counter-tackled me, but that was 4,800 damage with my neutral thrust, so that is crazy, crazy damage. Okay, and that is actually Chief in the Zaku 2 Kai right there. I spend the whole match trying to kill him so he knows it's me. But yeah, that's actually sort of hard to do because my team is really on top of taking kills. Okay, and yeah, so a lot of people find the needle missiles a little controversial in the Gyan. They definitely need a damage buff, but I actually sort of like them because they have a good rate of fire and pretty decent range on them too. So the fact that you can put pressure on enemies, or you can do range stun with it, or you can even stun to set up for your melee is pretty good. Okay, that was really weird. I'm not sure how I caught that Ifrit, but yeah, so if you have a downed enemy, it's sort of difficult to hit them, but what you want to do is your neutral swing, it actually does have an arc where it hits next to your foot, so you have to stand right on top of the enemy. So your neutral swing will hit a downed enemy, and also your right melee swing will tip the point downwards. Yeah, right there. So generally if they're down, just do neutral right. Weirdly enough, the left melee swing is not symmetrical. It does something completely different, but that's part of the stab I use the least. Yeah, and if you're, depending on the enemy you're approaching, you can use different combos. So if they do not have a dodge roll, like I tend to, if they don't have dodge roll, I do neutral, right, and then down. And the down will, it's a very long-reaching, very high damage attack. I think I got killed like in the middle of my dodge roll right there. That was kind of weird. Yeah, so for things that can't roll, neutral, right, down. And yeah, generally because they can't dodge roll, you'll get them with all 3 hits. But if you're fighting a general type, just do neutral down, because like they're gonna roll outside of your 3-hit combo. So you'll have to do the down hit a bit quicker. Okay, here's a good opportunity, just stabbing a bunch of people in a narrow hallway. And here I accidentally kill some people with the hide bomb. I meant to use my needle missiles instead, but yeah, the hide bombs are pretty weird. But yeah, this Ifrit player, he's being a little obvious with his attacks. So he's doing his best to extend his invulnerability, but he generally, when people roll, they're gonna melee as soon as they possibly can. So that's a pretty easy assumption that you can tackle them and get a counter in. So yeah, and the Gyan does have a pretty awesome counter animation. Okay, here's the weapons rack again. I am doing a lot of damage to him. Yeah, and I really do like the down hit for the Gyan's melee. So yeah, right here. So it actually is a long-reaching triple thrust. So I think it has a little less range than it did in the first game, but it does reach pretty far. You can actually really catch people off guard with it. And it hits 3 times, and it just looks pretty damn cool. Like, lots of utility in it. The narrow hitbox makes it a bit challenging, but you can actually like really catch people off guard when they think like you're too far away to hit them. Yeah, so in the first game, I'm pretty sure that would have reached, but this game is just really short. Ooh, shit. Wow, I'm not really sure what knocked me down right there. Okay, there's Chief getting wailed on by everybody, and I finally nailed him. So, yeah, so that's just a quick hello just to say, like, hey, it's me, what's up? Alright, so it looks like that's time on the match. So let's see how we did. Wow, I completely forgot we even had a support type on our team. I didn't see him like anywhere. Okay, so we had about double the score, and I took top for all the categories. And I didn't know this until the match ended, but it looks like Chief's sight actually had a disconnect on there. I think it was the Aksaku, the mole suit that shot me at the very beginning of the match. So I do feel a bit bad that the match was lopsided, but you know, shit happens. But anyway, that's the Gyan. It is crazy, crazy powerful, but also very fragile. Like, so it can be kind of difficult to learn how to use. And yeah, I've had my fair share of bad matches in it, but hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And that's it for my thoughts on the Gyan. We'll see you next time.